Hi, this is Dale with Computer Aftercare, and tonight I want to share some information with you about how to fix blue screen errors in Windows 7. And to get started, I'm going to go ahead and just share some links with you, and they'll be underneath the video here. One's from Microsoft itself, and another is going to be a program I'm going to show you that you can download. Now, the one with Microsoft, there's no reason to rehash this all myself. I can just point you to their resources here. It tells you right here that stop errors, sometimes called blue screens, they occur if a serious problem causes Windows 7 to shut down and restart unexpectedly. And you'll usually see a message that says Windows has shut down to prevent damage to your computer. And then there's this generic blurb underneath, which a lot of times it doesn't really help you if you were to follow those instructions. Anyways, here's some things you can do. If you can start Windows, and you're not actually in the blue screen anymore, because once you get a blue screen, all you can do is power off your machine, and you don't want to keep repeatedly powering off your machine and turning it back on if you're just going to get the blue screen again, because you ultimately might damage your hard drive doing that. Well, one thing you can do is undo recent changes using System Restore. So if you know that you had installed some new program, or you think you might have just a moment before gotten infected, you can try that first. You also have an action center. If you ever see this flag down here, and if there's any issues, you'll usually see the icon change colors a bit. Now you can actually go and open that, and you can go to the troubleshooting section. And here's some built-in Windows troubleshooters that you can use to fix some common problems with Windows. And in some cases, you could be getting a blue screen because you don't have the latest Windows updates. There might be a patch or a security update that might have caused you to get infected because you didn't have it. Others could be outdated drivers. You can actually go to the manufacturer's website and learn how to update your drivers. Another thing, a great tool is to learn how to use the safe mode, because a lot of times if the problem is software related, and it's something that runs normally that doesn't run in safe mode, you can boot up to the safe mode, and you can at least get your computer booted to Windows with just a core set of drivers and services, and then you can just start cleaning up your machine and troubleshooting it so that you can resolve the blue screen problem. And this gives you some instructions. I also have videos on how to do this as well. And if you've been turning your computer off and on and off and on with a power button, or you've had bad shutdowns because of power outages or whatever, you probably have errors in your hard drive. So you might want to get in here and check your computer for hard disk errors. There's also a utility built into Windows that you can use to run tests for memory errors in Windows 7. So anyways, these are a bunch of different ways you can do it if you can boot into Windows. Now if you can't start Windows at all, it just doesn't ever even get to the desktop, and basically you might be in this boot loop, there are some recovery options that are built into Windows 7. You'll need to use the F8 option basically to get in and try to run startup repairs. It's one of the first options you would do if the safe mode didn't work. And from within the startup repair feature, you can run things like System Restore. You can actually go in and get to a command prompt and run check this to check your drive for errors. If you have an entire backup, if you made an image of your Windows 7, you can restore your computer using the image, or you can actually reinstall Windows 7. Now in that case, you're either going to need the disk to do that, or you're going to need a recovery partition. And if you get into where you have to reinstall Windows 7 from scratch, you might want to just have a technician do that. Now, when you do get a blue screen, usually it's going to create what's called a mini dump folder in your Windows directory. So you can just go over here to go to computer, which there's many ways to get there. You can just do this, go to C, go to Windows, scroll down, and usually if you've never had a blue screen, this mini dump folder wouldn't even be here. And I actually created this one for testing, and if you had a mini dump, you'll actually see some files in here, and you can actually go look at the date and time on the files that would be in here, and I bet you they'd correlate to the problem when your computer froze on you. Now there is a Windows debugger that you can install and download these huge symbols to debug your machine so it can give you a clue of what went wrong, but that's kind of above and beyond the average user. A really much easier way that almost always works is to just go to this website here and download what's called the Bluescreen Viewer. It's free, actually. It's this website called nersoft.net, and I'll leave the link again underneath this video. And it says here that, you know, the Bluescreen View scans all your Minidump files that get created during a blue screen of death crash, and it's going to display some information about the crashes in a table. The table is going to look like this. So these are examples of some of the Minidump files that you would see in that folder. It's going to basically parse this folder automatically for you, and it's going to check the time. And normally when you get a blue screen, you see this stop 0x code, and you have this little phrase at the top like driver IRQL not less than or equal to. And anyways, down here is going to give you some information about what possibly caused it. Here's an example of one of the blue screens. This is the important information for a technician, by the way. This little phrase here and stop 0x and then these last two digits D1. The rest of this info can help if you need to get into some more advanced debugging, but mostly it's just this. And if it does list a file here, like in this case tcp/ip.sys, that's a driver file, it's internet related, that would be important too. All this other stuff you see in here is just a generic blurb. Now let's go ahead and go download that file that I was talking about. You can go to the bottom of the page where the links are. And for one, you're going to need to know what version of Windows that you have, whether it's 32 or 64-bit. In case you don't know that or don't know how to check, just click Start, Computer, right-click the computer, right-click, select Properties. And here you got Windows 7, and I have 64-bit. So I'm going to download this one, the Bluescreen View 64-bit. And this is going to be in a zip file. And Windows 7 has a native unzip program here. So I'm just going to save it to my desktop. And there it is. Now I'm going to extract it. And here's the file right here. Now this method here, without the full installer, like this version would be, and you can use this one if you want, but the one I downloaded is actually a portable version. And as you can see, there's even a help file here if you want to learn more about it. And a little README text file that tells you about the program. That's a pretty big font. Okay. Anyways, aside from that, this is the program itself, the .exe. You can just go ahead and double click that, accept the UAC prompt, and here it is. Now, I don't have any dump files in my Minidump folder. I don't have any recent blue screens I had to contend with, so I don't have anything to show you here. But if there were, again, you'd be seeing, let's go to that screenshot they showed here earlier. You'd be seeing a window basically like this. And it would give you some information about some files to look at. Not always, but sometimes. These highlighted ones here, this tcp/ip.sys. Anyways, you have a clue now of what to look for. Now it could be that that file actually got infected. It could be that file got corrupted. Maybe you have errors in your drive in that area of the drive where that file resides. Who knows? But in some cases, you might even have a backup of that file on your computer somewhere. And you can do things such as a search for it and look for it where it might be on your drive. Let's make sure I type that in right. tcp/ip.sys. And this is what you can do. You can just go search for all the locations where one of these files might be. And you can check the version of it. You can scan it. You can see if you can get a copy from another computer and replace it if need be, whatever it takes. But that's pretty much all I wanted to show you about how to deal with these blue screens of death. You have a way of analyzing these blue screens to mini-dump files with this blue screen viewer from Nersoft that I showed you you can download for free, and that will usually give you a clue of what went wrong. And you also have these window suggestions about the different methods you can use to revert back to a previous time when the computer was known working, or you can troubleshoot the problem using the Action Center. Say that file needed to be updated because of a Windows update, or maybe it could have been a file that was a driver file, and here you can do an update in the driver's manufacturer site. And you could use safe mode to troubleshoot the problem because you can't get in normally. And again, just to review, if you can't start Windows at all, remember you have the startup recovery options where you can get to the advanced boot options menu and do things like system restore again. You can get to a command prompt and check your drive for errors. All this I have videos for on the website. So if you're a member and you have access to all this, it'll be a lot of stuff that you can do on your own without having to contact a technician here. And be careful about searching the internet for fixes if you're not familiar with reputable and disreputable websites, because you might find a program out there that advertises it can fix your problem for you, guaranteed, and you just might further infect your computer, which is usually the cause of these blue screens anyways. That's all I wanted to show you. This is Dale with Computer Aftercare. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you and good night.